Tonight, we don't just tell a story. We step through a veil into a world where intoxication isn't shameful. It's sacred, ritualized, dangerous, divine. A world where fermented honey could unlock visions, where sour beer whispered through priestesses in trance, and where a man might sip too deeply, speak to a god, or mistake his own reflection for one. You don't know it yet, but tonight will echo through time. The moment you drink what no modern tongue could name, and forget who you were. Now, close your eyes, breathe in. The air thickens with heat, dust, and something sweet. Rotting, yes, but divine. The smell of date syrup gone wild, the scent of fire and fig. You wake in 2150 BCE, in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, a land of gods, scribes, barley, and secrets. The light slants through a linen canopy above your head. It's gold, but not gentle. It slices across your eyes, hot and indifferent. Flies circle lazily above you. In the distance, a woman sings, a melody older than any language you know. Your mouth is dry, your head rings. Something inside your stomach twists, not from hunger, but from whatever passed your lips last night. You sit up slowly. Your limbs ache. Your back groans. You're on a woven reed mat. The clay beneath it is warm. You must have slept beside the temple jars again. You don't remember how you got back here. There's a dull pulse in your skull, like war drums echoing from inside your bones. You reach for the water pot beside you. Sip, spit, it's salty. Someone reused a brine jar. Your mouth rebels. Outside, someone laughs, a low, throaty sound. Men's voices. The feast is over, but the stories are still spilling into daylight. You stand, unsteady. You brush dust from your arms. On the wall beside you, someone painted a lion in ochre, its mouth open in an eternal roar. You stare back at it. It doesn't blink, neither do you. You work in the temple. You mix oils. You carry jugs. You light incense and sweep thresholds. You are no one important. And once a month, you drink with the gods. They call it the Festival of Release. Everyone comes, farmers, slaves, merchants, widows, scribes. Before the goddess Inanna, goddess of war, sex and stars, the people drink to forget themselves, so they can remember what it means to be. You step out into the morning sun. It bites your eyes. The world smells like goat dung, roasted grain, palm wine, and incense. Always incense. You pass through the temple courtyard. Shattered pots, burnt reeds, the ghost of song still humming in the heat. You remember laughter. You remember dancing, barefoot, sweat clinging to your neck. You remember a ceramic cup being pressed into your hand, warm, wet, thick with yeast, barley beer, bitter and alive. You remember tilting it back. Then you remember nothing. Only a flash of movement, a face, a song. A child runs past you now, barefoot, chasing a chicken. Someone calls out. A priestess chants somewhere deeper in the complex. You lean against the wall. Your stomach rolls. Your skin itches. Your soul feels unwound. You wonder, was it holy or just human, you find your way to the cool room, a place dug below the main shrine. It smells like earth, mold, salt, and thyme. Here the real drink lives. Fermented date wine, thick as syrup, poured slowly, sipped reverently. It tastes like firelight and ancient tears. You take a sip. Your throat protests, but your spirit eases. This isn't pleasure. It's unlocking. In this place, intoxication is not taboo. It's communication between flesh and spirit, between human and God. You've heard the old stories. A king who drank until his tongue spoke only truth, and it killed him. A merchant who confessed his theft over camel milk wine, then vanished before morning. A priestess who danced so long in barley trance, she forgot her own name. This isn't a party. This is a test, a controlled unraveling. Because in this land of heat, debt, death, and law, the only escape allowed is sacred forgetting. You return to your tasks. You carry fig offerings. You light the lamps. You present sweet cakes at the altar. Your hands shake slightly, the hangover clinging like cobwebs. An elder watches you. Too much? He asks, half smiling. You nod. He laughs. That's the point, he says. And something in you softens, because here, the goal isn't sobriety, it's survival. Once a month, you release the weight, the name, the silence, and for a few hours, you are not your debt, you are not your station, you are not your body, you are just you, or perhaps you are no one. And that's even better. That night, you lie on your mat again, this time sober. The air is cool. The stars blink like old wounds. You hear someone crying, a woman, or maybe a boy. You don't move because you understand. This place, this world, is too much to carry alone. Stone buildings, harsh laws, dust, judgment. Before your eyes open, the world attacks your nose. Not fire. Worse, the reek of rotted date wine, stale sweat, and goat's milk left to curdle under a pitiless sun. You groan, and the sound tastes like metal. You turn your head slightly, and regret it. Your cheek was pressed into a basket of crushed barley. Now your mouth is full of its sour stench. You slept beside it, or on it. You're not sure. Your head feels full, not with thought, but with pressure, as if molten clay was poured between your ears and left to cool. Your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth like overripe fig flesh, sweet, sour, metallic. The aftertaste of last night's drink still lingers. It clings like shame. It hums like a fever. You try to sit, but your limbs don't belong to you. They're slow, heavy. As if some divine hand shaped you this morning out of sand and asked you to walk around. Your back aches. The clay floor beneath you is warm, packed flat by generations of bare feet. It smells of sweat, smoke, and skin. You rise, barely. Your knees crack. Your breath comes short. The nausea is there, hovering, not violent, just waiting. The linen drapes hang loose above you, light slanting through in syrupy gold. You blink. Even the dust moves slowly here. A fly lands on your arm and doesn't bother to leave. You shuffle out into the courtyard, and the sun, the merciless god of it, strikes your eyes like a hammer. Everything is too bright. The sky above is a flat, bleached white. No clouds, no escape. The temple walls radiate heat like angry stoves. The ground is cracked, dry and brutal. You hear the world moving, not fast but insistently, laughter, sharp and low. The splash of water into stone, the clatter of clay cups being swept aside, the distant cry of a merchant advertising pomegranate vinegar in a voice as dry as dust. Someone is vomiting in the corner, shoulders shaking, breath short. A priestess walks barefoot through the mess of the feast's remains, stepping over grape skins, burnt bread, and broken reeds as if this were just another morning. And it is. This is normal. This is sacred. It smells like death and sweetness, like funeral flowers in the sun, like a memory too ripe to hold. Inside, the remnants of date wine congeal along the rim. Sticky, dark, syrupy. Once it was an offering. Now it's a warning. You remember the first sip. The rim of the cup was smeared with honey. Its warmth came not from fire, but from the hands that held it before you. You drank because everyone else did. Because not drinking would be stranger than blacking out. Because the gods were watching. And when the drums began, when the reed hall shook with sound, when the first shout split the silence, you tilted your head back, you drank, and then you vanished. What they called beer was more like gruel, unfiltered, thick, alive with yeast, grains, and spice-masked rot. You drank it through metal straws to avoid the sludge. And it worked. You forgot, because forgetting was part of the ritual. In the ancient Middle East, alcohol wasn't elegant. It was feral, medicinal, holy. Even the gods demanded it. You pass a boy, 10 at most, staggering beneath a jug nearly his own size. The liquid inside sloshes thick. "Leftover beer," he says, grinning, "for the pigs." He winks. You're not sure if he means real pigs, or the men who passed out in the mud. You smile. The movement hurts your face. In the far corner of the courtyard, the sacred water basin glistens. You rush to it, fall to your knees, splash your face. The shock is instant. The cold cuts through the fog. For one moment, your mind clears. And just then, myrrh hits your senses. Sweet, smoky, holy. It clashes with the stench of your sweat and wine-soaked skin. It grounds you and makes you dizzy all over again. A priestess approaches. She places a hand on your head, not in judgment, not in blessing, just presence. You made it through, she says, and walks on. Around you, people are rising. Some begin sweeping. Others light incense. Some still lie in corners, whispering to gods only they can see. No one apologizes. No one shames. This is not indulgence. This is architecture. Last night, your body was unmade. Tonight, it will be rebuilt. You feel it now, that ache in your ribs, that looseness in your chest, that sense that something cracked open inside you. You are raw, but not empty. Later, you will gather herbs for fermentation. Boil dates until their skins fall off. Stir barley mash until your arms burn. Place the jars in the dark corners of the temple, marked with prayers and symbols scratched in clay. You'll mix the drink for others, just as someone mixed yours. And when the moon rises again, when the drums begin again, when the cups return, you'll drink, even if your hands shake, even if your lips remember the bitterness. Because here, to be drunk is not to be weak. It is to be free, to shed your name, to shed the law, to lose everything and find only yourself. Your first task is simple. Stay alive long enough to reach midday. That's all. That's everything. The air tastes like charcoal and copper. The heat isn't a warning. It's a punishment already pressing its full weight into your skin before the sun has even climbed halfway. You rub the sleep from your eyes and flinch. The light hits like an accusation. Your mouth is still dry, your stomach still heaves in slow, bitter waves. Whatever holy high last night gave you is now a bruised echo. You find a loaf, barley bread, wrapped in palm fibre and left out too long. It's dense, cracked, and smells faintly of ash and sour milk. You break a piece off. You chew. It doesn't soften. It fights your mouth. But you eat anyway. Because survival isn't poetic, it's practical. You dip a bronze cup into the communal jar against the temple wall. A thin oil sheen coats the surface. Flies float there, undisturbed. You take a sip and hope. The water tastes of stone, of metal, of maybe clean, maybe not. But you drink because thirst is crueler than caution. Around you, the world lurches back into movement, not fast, not joyful, just inevitable. The day begins like a machine, sweeping, scraping, lifting, hauling. Your job, move the amphorae, massive clay wine jars, from the cool storage into the open sun. The wine must be blessed beneath the sky, its flavour changed by heat and ritual. Not for gods, for clients. The city's elite will come soon. Their parties are next. You lift the first jar. It's heavier than it should be. Your back groans. Your arms tremble. Your spine tightens like a rope pulled too taut. But it's not the weight that breaks you. Two priests watch from the shade. They're speaking softly. Not cruelly, just observing. Their fingers point, their lips move, no smiles. You try to walk steadily, but inside, what if they notice I don't belong here? What if they see last night still painted on my face? What if they know I'm not holy enough to carry this? You keep walking anyway. Each jar is a reminder of how easy it is to lose your body in ritual and how hard it is to reclaim it afterward. You lift, you carry, you place, you breathe harder than you should. The clay dust swirls around your feet in little storms. Your hands are raw. The morning drips forward, sticky, loud, endless. You pass the kitchen. Someone is boiling lentils. It should smell like home. But today it makes you nauseous. A girl slices dried fish with a stone knife. You're the same age. She nods. You nod back. But something inside you slides sideways. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. You don't say it aloud, but you hear it in the drumbeat of your blood, in the ache behind your ribs, in the place where ritual used to live. You can't tell where last night ends and today begins, where sacred drunkenness fades into hollow labor. You lift another jar. Step, turn, place, repeat. The sun climbs higher, and you are still here. Your mouth is dry again. Your body has begun to hollow out. Someone passes you a fig. It's overripe, warm from the sun, sticky with sugar. You eat it whole. It sticks in your throat, but it helps. Nearby, a boy collapses under a jug of wine. It rolls away. He gets up shaking. No one laughs. No one helps. You don't either, because you can't afford the energy. The only cool place left is the temple's west wall. You press your forehead into the baked clay. For one moment, your breath slows. You remember last night, the way the honeyed wine clung to your lips, the way music made your body feel like someone else's, the moment you forgot your name and felt free. You remember someone beside you, laughing. Were they real? Their face is gone now, blurred by barley beer and divine forgetfulness. Now, you're sober, you're sore, you're alone. He doesn't speak, but his fingers draw a symbol in the air. Swift and silent, a blessing. You feel something flicker in your chest. A warmth, a whisper, not of God's, of your own choice. You chose this life, even if you don't remember why. You're not drunk anymore, but something inside you still spins. Is this survival, or just waiting? You watch the others, bent at the waist, pouring water, scrubbing steps, repeating, always repeating. Their faces are quiet. Are they empty? Or are they full in ways you cannot see? The sun tips downward finally. A shadow returns to the temple steps. You sit there, arms trembling, hands dirty. You close your eyes, and the drumbeat returns. Not real, just a memory, echoing from last night. From fire, from the strange unraveling of your name. You remember what the elder said. That's the point. You understand now, at least a little, because this world doesn't care how you feel. It only cares that you keep moving. And some days, wine is the only thing that lets you stop. There's no room for weakness in this world, not because people watch you, but because gods do. Not from clouds, not from thrones of gold, but from stone eyes carved into walls, from painted pupils that never blink, from the hollow silence of the sanctuary, where your breath feels too loud to be allowed. And today, those eyes are waiting. You step barefoot into the temple. The floor is cool, unnaturally so, almost wet, like the stone is remembering water from a time before heat. You lower your head. Out of habit maybe, out of fear definitely. The sun doesn't live here, only flickering oil lamps. Small flames dancing in cracked clay bowls, each one trembling, each one alive. The air is thick, not with smoke, with presence, spiced incense, sweet at first, then bitter, then holy. It curls into your lungs like a whispered secret. It burns, you choke. Still, you move forward, because that's what the ritual requires. You're not supposed to look up. But you do. Just once. And there she is, Inanna, painted across the rear wall, towering in divine stillness, eyes wide, unblinking, hair like a thunderstorm frozen in pigment, one hand raised in blessing, the other holding a chalice, not of wine, but of something older. You kneel, even if you don't believe in her. You kneel. The stone presses into your knees. You bow until your forehead touches the floor. You stay there, listening. Behind you, footsteps, fabric rustling. A single humming note, long, slow, rising. It vibrates inside your bones. Someone places a bowl before you. Inside it, black figs pounded barley. A thin pour of sacred beer, foaming gently in the heat. You've done this before. You lift the bowl, raise it high. You whisper the words you were taught as a child. I offer what I was given. I return what I was made of. I forget, so I may remember. Your hands tremble. Your voice cracks. But the gods, if they are listening, do not mind. They don't ask for perfection, only presence. You drink. The beer today is bitter, sour, less honey than usual, more earth, more fermentation. It clings to your throat like memory. It slides down like surrender. But it doesn't intoxicate you. It quiets you. It stills you. A woman beside you drinks too. She weeps when the cup leaves her lips. Not out of shame, out of recognition. No one speaks, no one judges. Because here, in this place, weeping is worship. Thematic anchor. Repeat phrase. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. You don't know where the thought comes from, but it arrives like a whispered truth that has always been waiting, and it won't leave you. The high priests begin their song, a chant with no melody, only breath, only rhythm. Their voices rise and fall like wind across sand dunes. The words are ancient. Even the scribes no longer understand all of them. But that doesn't matter, because meaning lives in motion here. A censer is lit. The smoke turns red. Your eyes water. Your shoulders burn. But you do not blink, because every gesture is seen. Every hesitation is measured. If you falter, the gods might turn their eyes away. And when gods turn away, the rain stops, the locusts come. Or worse, your name fades from the world. You kneel for an hour, maybe more. Your knees ache, your hands grow numb, holding the offering bowl. Your back sags like old rope. Still, you remain, until the final bell groans, not a chime, a sound like thunder wrapped in bronze. Everyone bows again. The ritual ends, softly, like the fading tale of a dream. The worshippers leave. You stay, you're lowest in the temple's order. You clean the bowls. You gather the incense stubs. You fold the cloths marked with divine ash. There's no prophecy for you, no visions, no blessing bestowed from a trembling hand, only chores. But the elder once told you, what touches the gods touches you. So you scrub harder. You rinse each cup in river water. You watch your fingers go red and raw. But you don't mind, because even the dirt is sacred here. Even the leftovers are holy. You catch yourself humming that same low note from the start of the ritual. Long, simple, steady. It settles into your chest like warmth. You don't know if this is belief, but it's something close. Later, you rest beneath the statue. The floor is still warm from the oil lamps. You sit, back against the wall, eyes half closed. The scent lingers, incense, fig winestone and smoke. It clings to your skin like a second layer. You feel light-headed, but not drunk. You feel emptied, but not hollow, like something heavy has been pulled from your spine and replaced with silence. You step back into sunlight. But something is different. The world is brighter, sharper, quieter. The heat no longer bites. Even the children seem gentler. The stones hum beneath your feet. You cross the courtyard. Your steps are lighter. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. You carry the emptiness like a cup. Not void, but space. Room for something new. You don't know if the gods were watching, but you were. And maybe that's enough. That night before sleep, as your body sinks into woven mats, you whisper the words again. Not to Inanna, to yourself. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. And as your breath slows, and the night thickens around your ears, you wonder what you'll give next. No law protects you, only power does. You learn that early. You learn it often. Today, you carry a jug. Not just any jug. A fine one sealed with wax, marked with the royal bull's crest. You don't get to drink it. You don't even get to see the cup it will touch. You only carry it. Like a shadow. Like a secret. You walk slowly through the temple corridors, past low fires, whispering workers, the scent of sweat and incense clinging to the walls like a second skin. The jug is heavy, but the heavier thing is this. If it breaks, it's your hands they'll punish. The sun stabs your neck as you enter the plaza. Silk banners ripple overhead. Peacocks scream in the distance, too bright, too strange, too royal. You pass other servants, barefoot, eyes down, clutching trays of salted almonds, honeyed dates, perfumed water. And there, raised like a god himself, lounges Governor Asher Malik, draped in linen, rings on every finger, eyes dark and unreadable. He doesn't look at you. He doesn't have to. You kneel. A priest steps forward and takes the jug from your hands, reverent, careful. He pours it into a goblet, not clay, not bronze, gold. The wine flows smooth and perfect, not a single drop lost. The governor lifts it. He drinks, no cough, no flinch, because this wine was made for his throat, his body, his legacy. You've never tasted anything like it. You never will. Centuries from now, historians will wonder what his name even meant. But today, his word decides who eats. You rise only when dismissed. You leave with nothing. Behind you, the party begins. Laughter, lute music, the sound of silk brushing stone, the click of goblets meeting in quiet war. Here, intoxication isn't forgetting. It's armor. It's currency. It's leisure in a world that eats the poor alive. You return to the temple, You find a boy crying. He drank too much last night. He said the wrong thing. To the wrong priest, no lashes, no fire, just pit duty. 3 days alone, cleaning human waste from the lower tunnels. He doesn't beg. He just shakes. You look away. Because here, drink is sacred, until it isn't. And if you forget your place while the gods are loosening your tongue, the gods won't save you. That night a scribe tells you a story. Once, a slave drank from a king's cup by mistake. He thought it was for servants. They buried him in a wine barrel, alive. You don't ask if it's true, because the way the scribe says it, slow, quiet, flat, like a psalm without mercy, makes you believe it anyway. There are levels in this world. You can taste them. At the top, perfumed wine, gold leaf goblets, imported grapes pressed with song. In the middle, spiced beer, copper mugs, diluted with water, stirred with reeds. At the bottom, fermented sludge passed through 12 mouths, drunk through straws to avoid the mold. And still, you drink it. Because even muddy joy is still joy. Because even the forgotten need to forget. Later that week, you overhear a whisper in the dark. The priest drinks better than the governor, someone says. He just does it in secret. You say nothing. Because the deeper you go, the more you see. Power doesn't just drink. It hides how it drinks. It rebrands its hangover as vision. It calls excess sacred, and your pleasure sin. During cleaning duty, you find a jar behind the altar, hidden, sealed, not marked for offering, not listed in the ledgers. You lift the lid. The scent hits you like heat. Spiced mead, thick, honeyed, ancient. You should walk away, but you don't. You dip your finger, you taste it. It tastes like fire, like truth, like something no one poor should ever know. You seal the lid again. Say nothing, but your body remembers. So does your fear. The next festival is near. More wine, more song, more danger. You'll drink again, with gods, with strangers, with sweat. But never like the governor, never like the scribes. You drink because you must forget. They drink because they never have to remember. That night, you return to your mat, hands stained with clay, stomach half full from broken bread. You close your eyes and whisper the phrase again. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. And that means this too, your hunger, your silence, your burnt tongue, your bruised knees. It all belongs to the gods now, even when no one thanks you, even when they forget your name, even when the wine runs out, and only you remain. You haven't spoken all day. There's no one to speak to. And even if there were, what would you say? The words inside you feel brittle, like sun-dried reeds that would snap if touched. You wake curled awkwardly, your spine bent around a mat that remembers you too well. The fabric has molded to your ribs. Your bones know its pattern by now. Your breath is dry, your mouth sour, not from wine, that's gone, forgotten. This is something else. A dryness that comes from not being heard for too long, from swallowing too many truths, from learning that in this world feelings are clutter, and silence is survival. The morning drags itself across the sky. Work begins automatically, mechanically, blindly. You don't question what needs to be done, you just do it. Because questioning makes the hours heavier. You lift the cups, sort them, polish them. Same as yesterday. Same as the day before that. You've stopped counting. Counting leads to wanting. And wanting is dangerous. Today the sun is slower than usual. The shadows sit strangely across the courtyard, like they're hiding something. The air smells like wet stone and burned fig leaves. No incense has been lit, and still you feel its ghost in your lungs. You sit on the temple step halfway in shade. Your fingers trace the rim of a clay goblet. There's a chip there, just enough to catch the light, and cut a lip if someone drinks wrong. You should report it. You don't. You just keep polishing. The younger boys haul water jugs, eager and loud. One shouts, one trips. They laugh. The priestess yells at them. But no one listens. Even the gods seem sleepy today. You glance around. Everything moves, except you. Your thoughts drift like smoke, but your chest stays locked. Heavy, tight, like something behind your ribs is trying to crawl out. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. The thought arrives quietly. Not as a cry, not even as pain, just a fact. Like something you misplaced long ago and just remembered. The world tells you that obedience is holiness, that silence is sacred, that wine is a bridge between you and the divine. But you remember what wine really felt like, how it loosened your body from your own bones, how it made you laugh like a stranger inside your own skin, how, for 1 hour, the stars felt close enough to reach. And now, the stars feel far again. Your hands feel borrowed. Even your own breath sounds like it belongs to someone else. You polish the goblet until your knuckles crack. Still not clean, still not right. You stare into its belly. Your reflection looks back. Warped, smudged, smaller than you remember. You look away. A song comes back to you. Your mother's voice, pounding wheat by the river. Hands of clay, hearts of fire. We live to carry, never tire. You hum it, softly. A ghost sound too small to live. You stop. Even that felt too loud. A novice priest passes you. He used to slip you extra figs behind the altar. Now he barely looks human. Eyes hollow, hands trembling when no one watches. He carries a tray of honey bread, but his mouth hasn't tasted sweetness in weeks. You want to say something. A joke, a memory, a name. Instead, you nod. He doesn't nod back. You sit too long. Someone calls your name. You don't respond, not out of rebellion, but because your name no longer fits your skin. It sounds like it belongs to someone else. Someone louder, someone hopeful, someone gone. You walk to the well, draw water, spill some. You don't care. You drink anyway. It's warm, metallic, alive with tiny floating things. Still, nothing shifts inside. No anger, no sobbing, not even numbness. Just wait. like the day is walking through you, not the other way around. Midday comes. You're given a crust of barley bread. You chew it like a chore. It tastes like stone and memory. You don't want it. You're not hungry for food. You're hungry for something no one in this courtyard can give you. Not the priests, not the chants, not the stars. You sneak behind the altar. It's forbidden, but you need a place that's darker than your thoughts. Behind the great jars, where the wine settles, where the incense ash collects, you crouch. The air is cooler here. It smells like ancient wine, dried herbs, crushed silence. You press your head against a jar, close your eyes, and for a moment, just a moment, you wish you could vanish, not die, just disappear into smoke, into wind, into something that can't be picked up and told where to stand. A single tear slides down your cheek. It shocks you. Not because you didn't know you were sad, but because you forgot how to weep. You wipe it, quickly, roughly, as if you've stolen something sacred. You stay like that, pressed against clay, heart whispering, trying to remember why you came here at all. Was it the gods? The dream of prophecy? The wine? Or was it just the only door open when every other one slammed shut? You don't know, but you stay, because movement is meaning, and the cups still need cleaning. You emerge just before the sky shifts. The light has turned pink, soft, false, tender. The priests begin their chants again. The incense flares up. The courtyard returns to its ritual pose. You join them, because that's what you do. You kneel, you bow, you lift the same goblet you nearly broke this morning, and this time you sing. Wrong note, shaky voice, barely audible, but still you sing, because that's what the offering does. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. You whisper it as your forehead touches the floor. But tonight, the words don't feel like chains. They feel like a memory of someone who once believed they could matter. When you lie down on your mat that night, body sore, thoughts brittle, you stare at the ceiling. You whisper, "If I am the offering, then why do I feel so forgotten?" The temple says nothing. The gods stay still. The stars don't blink, but the silence holds you, like wine holds a secret. And for tonight, that is enough to sleep. There is a line in the sand, and today you will stand on it. The day begins like all the others. Sunlight crawls in between the temple's stone ribs. Dust whirls inside each ray like it's dancing for something holy. A breeze shifts the smell of barley porridge and faint goatskin. You move the way you always move, mechanically, silently, carefully, but inside your chest, something feels tighter, harder, sharp-edged. You don't know what it is, only that it's there, coiling beneath your ribs like a rope being pulled. By midday, the heat feels personal. The priests are fanning themselves with palm fronds. The scribes mutter about ink drying too fast. You carry the wine jug. Same jug, same steps. But this isn't a feast, not a blessing, not a ritual. This is a judgment day. A boy kneels in the center of the courtyard. Dust around his knees, back bare, head bowed. His name is Lugal. You know him, sort of, 15, maybe younger. Big eyes, quiet voice, used to laugh at night when the novices snuck fruit behind the altar. Today, he looks like a stone that someone forgot to carve. You didn't see the mistake, but you've heard enough to know what happened. He drank from the wrong jug, the wrong cup, the governor's cup, not out of disrespect, not out of defiance, just a mistake. And now, he is treated like a crack in the temple wall, something to be punished and sealed over. You are given the task, pour the wine, not for Lugal, for the judges. 3 of them sit under a silk canopy. They wear rings, drink chilled water, eat honeyed cakes. They judge, they weigh, they decide. You walk slowly toward them. The jug is heavy, heavier than it should be. Your hands shake a little, but your face stays blank, because your job isn't to feel. Your job is to carry. The first judge speaks. He drank what was not his. The gods saw it. You feel something rise in your throat. Laughter, rage, a question that tastes like smoke. Do the gods truly care more about a jug than a boy? But you say nothing. You pour the wine. The red liquid glints in the sun like blood pretending to be precious. The sentence is announced. 3 lashes, 40 days of banishment from ritual. That's not just pain. That's removal. From the gods, from purpose, from belonging. He'll still be here, but he won't be seen. They ask him to speak. He opens his mouth, closes it. Nothing comes. He looks up, at you, not begging, not pleading, just searching for something human in the room, and something inside you cracks. You don't mean to. You don't plan it. You just say it. He didn't know. The words leave your mouth like birds startled from a tree. The courtyard stills. A priest stops mid-step. A scribe's pen pauses. Someone inhales sharply. What? Your voice sounds strange. Not like yours. Like it climbed out of someone braver. You say it again. He didn't know. He made a mistake. The boy stares at you. The judges blink. You feel it now. The line, drawn in sand. You're standing on it. You've already crossed. A priest steps toward you, his tone controlled, his eyes worried. Are you challenging the ruling? You don't answer, because it's not a challenge, it's a truth. But in this world, truth is rebellion. The governor's scribe speaks next. He doesn't raise his voice, and if one mistake is forgiven, what happens to the law? His words drip like honey, sweet but poisonous. You stare at him, and then you say the most dangerous thing you've ever said. Maybe the gods don't care about jugs. Maybe they care how we treat each other. The courtyard becomes a still pond. No ripple, no breath. The dust settles. Even the birds go quiet. And everyone feels it. Something sacred just shifted. What happens next will follow you into legend or oblivion. The judges murmur. The priests adjust their robes. The scribes scribble, faster now, like words might protect them. You say nothing more, because you already said too much, but also Not enough. The ruling does not change. 3 lashes, 40 days. Return under observation. They call it mercy. You call it politics. The punishment is carried out. The reed strikes skin. Thwack. The boy flinches. Thwack. He gasps. Thwack. His head remains down. No cry, no plea. You don't look away. Neither does he. Pain shared, even silently, becomes something different, something holy. Afterward, the boy stumbles. He leans into you just for a second, barely a touch, but it's enough. You hold him steady. No words, no gesture, just presence. That night, no one speaks of it, not aloud, but every glance carries meaning. You're marked now, not as a hero, as a risk. In a world where silence is survival, you opened your mouth, you lie on your mat. The ceiling above you feels farther than usual, but for the first time in weeks, you feel awake. Not safe, not sure, but real. Your hands shake, but your heart is still. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. Now you understand it means you give yourself, even when it costs you everything, even when the gods stay silent. The wind moves softly through the temple courtyard. You lie in the hush, listening. And for the first time, it feels like something is listening back. Morning, the kind of morning that doesn't feel new, just an extension of the night before. You wake curled like rope left in the sun, spine folded, mouth coated in dust. Your hands already ache, though they haven't lifted a thing yet. Still, the day calls you forward, because motion is the only way to remain visible in this world. Stillness is suspicious. Stillness invites questions. Stillness doesn't feed you. You already know what the first tasks will be. You don't need to be told anymore. Haul the amphorae, wash the cups, deliver the grain, stack the bricks. These words aren't orders anymore. They're rhythm, like a chant stuck in your bones. Each amphora you lift weighs like memory, the kind of memory that nests in your shoulders, then makes a home there. Some are filled with wine, others with brine or water or something thicker. You don't ask, you just carry. You receive no coin for this work, just a smear of date mash and a shallow cup of flat beer. The beer's not for joy, it's fuel. You drink it the way a mule chews oats, unthinking, unloving, necessary. Surprise fact, unbalanced barter system. You once heard a traveller say, a bronze coin can buy a woman, or a jar of beer, but not both. You didn't ask which was worth more, because you already knew. It depends who's buying, and why. A new wine shipment arrives today, from the north. Grapes grown in cooler soil, not this desert's heat. The jars are different, glazed, painted with patterns you don't recognize. They say the taste is richer. For scribes, for priests, for guests, not for you. You will not drink it, you will lift it, store it, inventory it, but you will not taste it. That's not cruelty, that's class. You carry one jug the length of the courtyard. Its strap carves a mark into your collarbone. Your hands go numb by the halfway point. You do not set it down, because this jug, it's worth more than 10 of your weeks. It's worth more than your sandals, more than your skin, and still you carry it. A man argues with a tool merchant near the courtyard gate. He holds a sickle in 2 cracked hands. 2 weeks of wine rations for this? It breaks in the sand. The merchant shrugs. Tools break, your arms don't. Use those. People laugh, you don't. Because your arms do break, they just don't get replaced. That night, the fire burns low in the outer circle. The older workers gather there, not to rest, to trade. One man offers half a jar of bitter beer for a goat hide. Another swaps a flint blade for a handful of dried apricots. There's no coin, no ledgers, only silence and sweat, and what you hold in your hands. Wine is currency now. It used to be sacred. Now it's math. Now it's labor translated into liquid. You trade your own portion, a shallow sip of chalky beer, for a fig. It's not ripe, not sweet, but it bites back. And tonight, that's what you want. Something your teeth can fight. Later, you slip into the record room. Not to steal, just to look. Wax tablets cover the shelves, each one a log, a ledger. Your name shows up, again and again. Besides symbols you've memorized without trying, tasks, weight, volume, deductions, drinks. How many amphorae moved equals 1/4 jar of beer? How many bricks stacked equals 1/8 ration? How many errors equals minus 1/2 portion? Your body? It's a column on a wax slate. You sit beside the stack, head bowed, stomach hollow. A girl you recognize, Shaina, comes in quietly. She sees your face, points to the ledgers. Don't let it ruin you, she says. Even the high priest is tracked. They just pretend not to be. You nod, but the knot in your chest tightens anyway, because pretending isn't freedom. And even wine, once holy, is now data. You walk past the elders' chambers. Laughter, music, the smell of cinnamon and something sharper. Northern wine, the kind you carried, the kind you stacked, the kind that will never touch your lips. You sip your own beer in silence. It's sour, foamy, flat, but warm, and for a moment your throat thanks you. Your mother once told stories about wine. She said it used to be poured only for gods, only in rituals, only in awe. Now it's currency. Now it's a reward for obedience, a lubricant for transactions, a silence maker. In the tool room, you run your hand over an old knife handle. You carved with it once. Now it's worn smooth from too many palms. You hold it like a memory, not valuable, but real. Real in a way the ledgers aren't. A novice sits across from you. He's younger, still soft around the eyes. He asks, half joking, "Do you think the gods drink?" You pause, then say, "If they do, they never run out." He laughs, but it's thin. He's starting to learn. What you've already known. Sacrifice and labor are the same thing. At dusk a child approaches. Sticky hands, bare feet, curious grin. He offers you a sip of his father's homemade brew, spiced with herbs, boiled in cracked pots. You accept. It burns your throat, but it warms your chest. For a second, just a second, You forget the tally. You forget the trade. You forget the weights, the jars, the bruises. You feel human. Then the moment ends. You place the cup down. You pick up the governor's, polish it. Not because he asked you to, because it's expected. Because that's the job. Because it's never your turn to drink from it. No matter how full the jar is, it's not for you. That night, you sit beneath the stars. Your hands smell like fermented grain and red clay. You whisper the refrain again. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. And tonight, it feels truer than ever, because even the wine in your blood was earned, not by celebration, but by lifting, by silence, by cost. You grew up inside a dream. It wrapped around your childhood like linen soaked in jasmine oil, soft, fragrant, gently smothering. You were told this place was sacred. That labor was devotion. That pouring wine into carved stone vessels awakened something divine. A God's eye opening, a God's hand reaching, and you believed it. The temple murals helped. Golden lines, eyes rimmed with kohl, priests in radiant linen, goblets tilted skyward. Feasts under painted skies, chalices overflowing, laughter sealed in strokes of red and indigo. Even the dancers on the walls seemed to float, suspended in meaning, frozen in worship. You thought that's what holiness looks like. Not unreachable, just a few steps beyond, a few tasks away. But then you arrived, and the truth didn't fall like a hammer. It seeped, slow, quiet, heavy. You don't remember when it started. Maybe it was the smell of rotting figs that no one cleaned after the last festival. Maybe the wine-soaked mats that reeked of vinegar by morning. Maybe the novice who smiled too much until he didn't. None of it big, all of it true. This morning, your back aches. Not from visions, from lifting, from clay, from heat. You carry amphorae across cracked stone that chews through your soles. You scrub wine residue from ritual cups with fingers that haven't healed in weeks. There's a festival today. You can tell not from divine signs, but from the way fig syrup clings to everything. From the way the priest rehearses his chant under his breath, slurring slightly from already opened wine. You're sent to polish a silver goblet, one that will never touch your mouth. You clean it until your own face reflects back at you. You look pale, small, not sacred, not divine, just present. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. You whisper the phrase, it's habit now. But something's changed. The words don't sit right. They itch, they chafe, because the offering is supposed to be received. But who's receiving you? In the courtyard, children play a game. One wraps a cloth around his shoulders. He lifts a clay cup and says, "O Holy One, grant us your mercy." They giggle, they chant, they fall over laughing, and part of you aches, not from the noise, but because you remember being them, believing without doubt, pretending without cracks. You envy them for not knowing better. Yet, inside, a scribe hands you a scroll. You glance at the writing. The priests led the people into joy. The wine flowed, the gods smiled. But the festival hasn't started. No wine poured, no words spoken. You ask, shouldn't we wait until after? The scribe doesn't look up. It's the same every year. You don't argue, because what's the point? The ceremony isn't history, it's script. Everything here is rehearsed, even the miracles, even the gods, even the joy. The only thing unscripted is the way your chest tightens when you walk past the altar and see that same priest who once blessed your hands, now vomiting behind a pillar, too drunk to finish the chant. Later, in the storage chamber, you lift a wine jug. It sweats in your hands. Condensation, not reverence. Carved into the clay, to be poured for the righteous. You stare at it for a long time, then ask the question that won't leave your throat. Who decides who's righteous? The gods or the ones who own the ink? A novice collapses near the incense burner. Too much wine, not enough water. He's young, maybe 14. You help lift him, lay him on a mat. He mumbles half-finished prayers in his sleep. "O God of fire, O bearer of... The words tangle. No one corrects him. No one even notices. Except you. You cover him with your shawl. And for one brief breath, that feels holy. Not the wine, not the script, the kindness, the witnessing. That night, the procession begins. The moon hangs sharp as flint. Drums echo through the courtyard. The high priest lifts the golden goblet. The crowd bows. You do too. Not from faith, from pattern. A girl beside you leans close. "Do you think the gods hear us?" You whisper, "I don't know anymore." She doesn't respond, just keeps chanting, but her eyes don't close. The feast begins. Wine flows freely. Goblets refilled with flicks of the wrist. People toast the stars, the gods, the air. But not you. You carry trays. You refill cups. You watch from behind veils of incense. Someone spills a goblet on your chest. Red streaks down your linen. They don't apologize. You don't flinch. You just keep walking. Sticky, wet, forgotten. Later, behind the storeroom, you sit on the cool ground. You find the broken neck of a discarded amphora. Enough left to drink. You tilt it. The wine is too sweet. Metallic, thick. You swallow anyway. Then whisper into the quiet. Was this ever sacred? The wind rustles through the palms. No answer. But a kind of stillness settles in your chest. Not peace, but truth. You light a single oil lamp. On a torn scrap of parchment you write, "I was here. I served, I believed, then I saw, and I stayed. Even after I knew the difference." You fold it, slip it between the cracks in the stone wall behind the granary. No one will read it. But that's not the point. It's not for them. It's for you. For the moment, your future self forgets why you stayed, or why you knelt, or why your hands cracked under the weight of wine jugs and silence. It's for someone else who might find it. Someone who dares to feel what you feel. Someone who might also whisper, "You are not just a servant. You are the offering." and mean it, not as devotion, but as defiance. You wake up lighter, not because you're rested, not because the aches are gone, not because life has grown softer, but because something inside you, quiet, small, steady, has stopped shrinking. You spoke the truth, and the world didn't end. Outside, wind presses through clay corridors. It hums beneath prayer banners, flicks dust from column tops, whispers through archways. The gods are silent, but the air feels awake. You're breathing again, not just out of habit, but as if you mean it. Today's task is new. You're sent to the wine gate. It sounds sacred, regal, heavy with purpose. It isn't. It's just a wooden arch near the outer wall, where shipments arrive and lesser guards stand. Your job? Stand beside the barrels. Look watchful. Carry a staff you're not meant to use. It's more costume than command. Still, you carry it. Not because it gives power, but because it reminds others where power sits, even if yours is borrowed. Midday, the sun hangs like judgment. The barrels sweat. You do too. And then you see him, Lugal, walking, slower now, thinner, face shadowed by weeks of silence, but alive. He passes you, nods, small, careful. You nod back, no words, just understanding, like a string that never snapped. Later, foreign traders arrive. Assyrian coats, Zagros beads, jars from the Red Sea glazed in gold dust enamel. The wine smells like spice and shadow. Fruits you've never tasted, mountains you've never seen. You're told, do not speak, do not ask, do not look too long, just stand. But one trader, a woman with silver rings circling both wrists and a voice dipped in sun. She pauses, looks at you. You're not like the others, she says in soft, clipped Akkadian. You hesitate. I'm the same. She smiles, not unkind. Number you look. That means you're not asleep. She walks away. But the words don't. Not asleep. You chew on them like rough bread. Maybe you've been waking up slowly. Since the trial. Since the lie you didn't swallow. Since the wine that tasted like endings. You meet the scribal apprentice in the grain store's shadow. She doesn't smile. Her scroll is loose in her grip. Ink on her skin. Eyes tight with knowing. They've started cutting the verses, she whispers. You blink. What? The old ones, the ones about softness, about gods who forgive. They're being removed, rewritten, changed to duty and sacrifice. You pause. Why tell me? She studies your face. Because I think you'll remember. You don't answer, but you will. You'll remember. Because someone must. Because forgetting is how myths win. This day will echo through time. You remember that line. It was told to you on your first morning in the temple. Back when your hands were still soft. Back when belief fit like a new robe. You didn't know what it meant then. Now, maybe you do. Maybe echo doesn't mean fame. Maybe it means presence. A nod, a whisper, a truth passed hand to hand without fanfare. Evening, you're summoned. A noble arrives. There's to be ceremony, ritual wine, public praise. You're not chosen to pour, just to stand. You clasp your hands, lower your eyes, play your part. The noble lifts his goblet, says the words, thanks the gods. You watch his lips, but you don't hear reverence. You hear performance. You see hollowness dressed in gold. You feel something inside you sink, not in despair, in recognition. After the ritual, you slip away. Your feet find the sacred well, the one no one visits anymore except during drought. You sit on its edge, look into the water, still, dark, moonlit, and softly you speak. If you're there, I don't fear you anymore. No thunder, no stars blink, but the wind moves again, cooler now, like breath. Footsteps lugal, again, he sits beside you. No greeting, no formality. You hand him a small cup, half filled with leftover wine. He drinks, no thanks, no ritual, just shared stillness. Then, softly, I told someone what you did. They didn't believe me, said no one would dare speak up. You chuckle. Maybe they're right, he shrugs, but I believed me. Then he stands, walks away, no blessing, no farewell, but you feel steadier. Because sometimes belief doesn't need a temple. Sometimes it just needs one person. Later that night, you don't sleep in your mat space. You climb the rooftop. Lie beneath the open sky. The stars feel closer than usual. You dream, a temple with no walls. Wine falling like rain. People drinking not for power or forgetting, but because it brings them joy. A god appears. He doesn't strike you. He doesn't demand. He just looks at your face, and you wake up crying. You don't know why. Only that something inside has melted, something else has hardened. You're not waiting for gods anymore. You're becoming one, not in miracles, but in memory, in clarity, in the refusal to lie. Dawn, you return to your quarters. A child waits there. Shaina's brother, small, dusty, hands clasped in front of him. Can you teach me how to pour the cup right? He whispers. You nod, kneel, take his hands in yours, guide the jug. Steady, hold it here. Feel the weight. Wait for silence before you pour. That's when the blessing begins. And as he learns, you realize this is how it begins, legacy, not written in stone, but in muscle memory, in stillness, in hands that don't spill. He looks up. Did I do it right? You smile. Yes, you did, and you mean it, because what he poured wasn't just wine. It was care. It was presence. It was truth. You rise, leave him to practice, step outside. The sky is pink with early sun. Prayer banners flutter faintly. Dust dances like breath in the air. And for once, you don't whisper the old phrase. You speak it aloud. I am not just a servant. I am the offering. Then you add, and the offering remembers. The temple has exhaled. At last, the day's rituals collapse into silence. The flame-wreathed chants, the staged offerings, the hungry pageantry, all gone now. The oil lamps flicker out one by one, each little wick a star being softly blown from the sky. And you walk alone, not hurried, not afraid, just present. Your sandals barely scuff the stone tiles. The echoes don't bounce back, they're swallowed, as if the walls, for once, aren't scolding, they're listening, and what they hear is not the servant with wine-stained hands, not the one who bows and pours and recites. They hear you, the one who watches, the one who remembers, the one who has begun to feel everything and is still standing. It is late, not the kind of late that invites fear, the kind that strips it away. Even the gods sleep now, not from fatigue, but from discipline. They retreat to make space for the world to breathe again. And in that breathing space, you walk upward, past the grain store, past the sleeping novices, past the goat pen, toward the stone staircase hidden behind the incense chamber. The back steps. No one sees you, no one stops you. Not because you are invisible, but because you've become something else. Not servant, not rebel, not priest, just witness. You reach the rooftop, and the wind greets you like it knows your name. Not by sound, by scent. It carries fig leaves, character, warm clay, and something you can't name, but feel all the same. It runs its fingers through your tunic. You let it. You lie down, slowly, carefully, as if the rooftop itself is sacred ground. It is. To you, it is, not because it's holy, because it's honest. The roof is still warm from the day's sun. You stretch your limbs, long, deliberate, like unfolding from a lifetime of shrinking. You let your body spill outward, wide across the tiles. You don't make yourself small tonight. And above you, the stars don't twinkle. They burn, cold, sharp, uninterested, but constant. And tonight, that's enough. You've stopped asking them for meaning. You only ask that they stay. Below you, somewhere deep in the temple, you hear the final prayer being murmured. You know the words. You've recited them for years. But tonight, you do not join. You let the words drift past, because tonight your prayer isn't syllables, it's silence, a full-body kind of silence, the kind that speaks. You think of the child again, Shahina's little brother, the way his small fingers wrapped around the base of the cup, the way his breath slowed before he poured, just like you taught him. He didn't look up for approval. He looked up for witnessing, and you gave it. Not with a nod, not with praise, just with your eyes, present, open, real. You were never just a servant. You were the story. You don't hear those words, you feel them. They thrum through your ribs, curl into your throat, anchor themselves in your fingertips. They are not a chant, they are a knowing. You say them aloud, just once. I was never just a servant. Then the rest. I was the story. Not the scroll-painted kind. Not the one memorized by chanting novices, with waxed hair and hollow eyes. The living kind, the aching kind. The kind that isn't perfect, but belongs to you. You close your eyes. But sleep doesn't come quickly. It lingers at the threshold, respectfully, letting you finish this moment. Because this moment belongs only to you. Not to gods, not to scribes, not to the stories someone else wrote. Just you. You shift onto your side. Inhale the scent of dust, fig, night air. In the distance, the jackals begin their long howls. Low, melodic, not frightening, a lullaby. You think of your mother, her fingers tracing your forehead when you were sick, her voice, soft as silk, whispering, "Even the gods must sleep." And when they do, the world rests. She never said what the gods dreamed. Now you wonder, do they dream of you? Your hand curls beneath your cheek. You feel the calluses across your palm, the tiny scar from a chipped amphora, the faint burn near your thumb where wine once spilled. These aren't flaws. These are your records, not written in ink, but in you. The moon climbs higher, white, still, observing. You whisper, "If you are watching, remember me kindly." No answer comes, but the moon does not turn away. And somehow that feels like enough. Dreams come slowly. First, laughter, familiar, but not yours. From a market in a past life, when you still believed that things would get easier. Then wine, cold, clear, sweet, not poured for gods, poured for joy. Then a wind through a corridor that no longer exists, then faces, dozens, hundreds, not wholly, just human, looking at you, seeing you. One of them lifts a cup and says, "You changed it. You want to answer." But your mouth is full of song, not words, just feeling. And then stillness, not empty, held by stars, by memory, by stone, held by the child's tiny fingers, by Lugal's quiet nod, by the foreign trader's gaze, by the scribe's whisper, all of it, tucked into your chest, and as your heartbeat slows, as the air curls around your limbs like soft cloth, you realize something final. You weren't waiting for freedom. You were building it, one paw, one refusal, one unspoken truth at a time. Tomorrow they might call your name, to serve, to polish, to pour again. Let them, because they do not own what you've become. You've crossed the invisible line, the one between obedience and becoming. And now, your life is not a duty, it's a legacy, and no god, no scroll, no ritual chant can rewrite it. Sleep now. The temple rests, the wind carries your breath like a song. And for the first time, the world doesn't just watch, it sees you. The world doesn't end with thunder. Not with the crash of gods descending, not with the shatter of amphorae, or the roar of voices raised in prayer. It ends quietly, with the long breath of night slipping away, with the edge of light resting on your cheek, with a silence that doesn't crush, but releases. You open your eyes, and for once, you do not flinch, you do not brace, you do not prepare for duty, or chant or sacrifice. You simply wake, not for them, for you. The temple bells haven't rung, the incense hasn't risen, the gods, if they're watching, have not stirred. But something has, something in your chest, in the place behind your ribs, where the oldest stories go when they're too raw to speak. No one tells you to rise, but you do, because today isn't a ritual, it's a reckoning. You walk barefoot across the temple floor. The stone is cold, but the chill doesn't bite. It grounds you. You feel the imprint of those who came before, thousands of feet, thousands of prayers, thousands of silences. And yet there is room for yours, for this walk, for this breath. You pass the old markers, the wine gates, the scribe's chamber, the sacred basin where they used to purify your hands before prayer. You touch none of them. You carry nothing, because your weight now is not physical, it's truth. And truth doesn't need a robe, or a title, or a cup. It needs only to be carried. You find your way to the courtyard wall, the place you once came to in secret. To hide a slip of parchment, to hide yourself, you kneel, not in submission, in memory. You press a hand to the cracked stone, where your truth still waits, quiet, small, unbeautiful. And you whisper, I was here, I saw, I stayed. No one answers. But the wall feels warmer, the wind stills, the moment holds. You do not need a reply. You remember, and that is enough. The sky begins to open. Sunlight creeps up the walls of the temple like forgiveness. The streets below begin to wake. A cartwheel creaks. A rooster calls. A child spills water and laughs. You hear it all, but you do not rush to join them. You walk slowly this time. You pass the traders. One waves a painted fan. Another dips a ladle into a barrel of sweet wine. They drink, they shout, they rejoice. But you do not crave the cup, because you've already drunk the bitterest thing, awareness. And it did not poison you. It opened you. You pass the boy again, the one you taught. He carries water now, not wine. He lifts it with both hands. He moves with intention. When he sees you, he doesn't bow. He nods, a recognition, a mirror. You nod back, and in that gesture there is legacy. You hear a voice behind you. Familiar, curious, the foreign woman, silver bracelets, dust in her hair, eyes that saw more than most priests ever dared. She asks, "Did you find what you came for?" You pause, then smile, not bitter, not sweet, just honest. "No." And then, "But I found what was left." She nods, as if she always knew that was the point. The temple bells begin to ring, but they don't pull at your spine anymore. They don't command your bones. They're just sound now. Not sacred, not threatening, just echoes of a world you no longer belong to, and no longer need to. You let them pass through you. Like wind, you stop at the gates, the same ones you once entered with fear, with duty, with longing. You stand there now, upright, not proud, not angry, just true. You look over the rooftops, over fig trees and smoke spirals and stone ovens. You take a breath, and for the first time in your life, it belongs entirely to you. And now I ask you, the listener, the soul who stayed all of the way to the end, could you have survived here? In a world where your hands poured, but your mouth stayed silent, where every prayer was written in advance, and no one heard the one inside you? Could you have walked the line between belief and betrayal? Could you have watched everyone drink and still chosen to be awake? Maybe you don't know. Or maybe you already have. Maybe this world isn't so distant. Maybe you've felt this same silence before. This same ache. This same thirst for something that no God can fill. And maybe that's why you're still here, because if you're still listening, still breathing with me, still carrying these images in your chest, then you weren't just watching a story, you were remembering one. Yours? You're not just a viewer. Not just a name in an algorithm, not just a click or a timestamp. You are a vessel, for memory, for all the forgotten ones, who carried wine jugs they never drank from, who whispered to gods who never answered, who carved truth in walls that no priest ever touched. You carry them, in your tears, in your pulse, in the way you feel something right now and can't explain why. So tonight, or next week, or one day when the world feels scripted again, when you're asked to kneel without question, to pour without pause, to speak lines that don't feel like yours, remember this: you were never just a servant. You were the story, not their story, yours. And stories, real ones, don't fade. They don't get erased by temple bells, or broken amphorae, or cracked clay tablets. They echo, in the hush between words, in the wind brushing an old wall, in the weight of a truth that was never written, but always felt. So, whether you sleep tonight, or rise, or pour the wine again tomorrow, do it like a storyteller, with eyes open, with memory in your chest, with your truth tucked gently behind your ribs, where no priest can touch it, where only you can name it. This was your story, not of gods, not of wine, not of temples, of you, seen, heard, held. Thank you for staying. Sleep well, storyteller, or rise. The world is watching, and this time you are not hidden. You are witnessed. You are remembered. You are free.